The Queen's will remain confidential. Knowing how much the Queen adored her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren.
For decades, the British royal family has kept its deepest secrets hidden behind palace walls, beneath strict legal seals, and under even tighter silence. But now, a revelation is challenging the very core of the monarchy, and it can be traced back to the late Princess Diana. A recently discovered secret codicil, a concealed portion of her will, has apparently been released. And it includes something no one expected, a direct personal letter from Diana herself, giving not only heirlooms but passionate guidance and power to one lady only, Catherine, Princess of Wales. This wasn't some broad or generic gesture meant for a future wife of William. According to royal insiders and legal sources close to the estate, Diana expressly mentioned Catherine, not Camilla, not anybody else. She picked her successor, a lady she thought could carry on her legacy, even before Catherine married into the firm. And when that name appeared on the sealed paper, everything changed. Within hours following the release, royal watchers exploded. The internet was swamped with side-by-side photographs of Diana and Kate, two women who lived decades apart yet were inextricably linked. Media outlets sought for confirmation. What about behind the palace doors? Camilla, Queen Consort, was claimed to be completely unhinged. According to many palace aides, she felt surprised, misled, and worst of all, erased. This wasn't simply about jewelry or antique letters. This was about narrative. This is about legacy, concerning who the people regard as the genuine queen. Camilla, who has struggled for years to gain public acceptance, saw this as the final smack in the face. Diana's spirit may still outspeak her living presence after all these years. This was not news to Prince William, however. According to people closest to him, he has been aware of this paper for some years. In fact, he has preserved it. I honored it. Some claim he even fulfilled sections of it in secret, beginning with the moment he slid Diana's sapphire ring onto Kate's finger. So why is everything coming out now? Why is Camilla sliding just as Charles' health worries reappear and public trust in the monarchy dwindles once more? Because the timing could not be a coincidence after all. What if this was always destined to come to light, just when the crown was at a crossroads? This is the narrative about a will, a woman, a crown, and the queen who never got to wear it, but may have selected who should. In the shadows of Windsor, one lady is lashing out, and it's not Catherine. For years, the public believed they had read the contents of Princess Diana's final will, which was submitted in 1993 and updated just before her sad death in 1997. It named her sons, Princes William and Harry, as the prime beneficiaries of her fortune. Jewelry, trusts, and letters were split evenly between them. This was the official story. Within the quiet hallways of Kensington Palace, murmurs persisted. There was more. A codicil is an edition that is carefully sealed under royal command and only known to a select few. That particular codicil has purportedly come to light, with explosive contents. According to palace officials and legal experts who talked anonymously to the foreign press, this concealed clause included Diana's final instructions for her legacy, which were not intended for her sons. They were intended for Catherine Middleton, specifically named, not generally mentioned. A daring act from a lady who, by all accounts, had never met her. But Diana, it seemed, had seen enough of royal life to know the type of lady she wanted to emulate. The codicil, which is claimed to be only a few handwritten pages long, includes 3 stunning gifts: a sapphire and diamond brooch, a personal note, and most chillingly, a cassette recording made only 6 weeks before her tragic vehicle accident. All of them were sealed with the statement, "For the one who holds my heart's hope." And this is where the plot takes a sudden turn. While the formal will was legally probated in the late 1990s, this codicil was secretly stashed away, allegedly at the request of Prince William, who, at the age of 15, had previously observed the turmoil that the press could bring to private bereavement. He requested that it be kept private until the appropriate moment. Not buried, simply protected. For years, William honored his commitment, even during his academic years, even throughout his initial relationship with Kate. But soon before their engagement, everything changed. According to a reliable former staffer, William personally fetched the codicil from legal storage and presented it to Catherine before proposing. The treasures, while nostalgic, were not what hurt the most. Diana's remarks, written in her unmistakable handwriting, allegedly crushed Camilla. One statement in particular now rings through the castle hallways. "To the woman who will wear my ring and carry my dreams, know that you are the future I prayed for." And that's when it became personal. Camilla Parker Bowles is not referenced once in the whole codicil. Not by name, not by position, and not even indirectly. Diana, even in her farewell message, refused to acknowledge the woman who once ruined her marriage. Indeed, some believe Diana knew Charles was about to formalize his relationship with Camilla and wanted to leave a counter-narrative. A legacy that not only survived, but restored her dignity. The codicil apparently remained dormant until recently, when the Royal Estates Board requested a normal assessment of royal documents in response to King Charles's health and speculated succession plans. That's when it occurred. A junior estate officer allegedly spotted the paper after noticing the name Catherine Middleton scribbled in pen years before the couple married. What ensued was a complete internal panic. Calls from Clarence House, Buckingham Palace, and Sandringham. Legal advisors scrambled. The firm apparently argued whether the codicil should be resealed or buried again. But by then, the existence of the document had already been disclosed to 2 worldwide publications, sparking the current royal outrage. And in the heart of it all, a dead woman's words and a live woman's outrage. This wasn't simply a legal document. It was Diana's spiritual handing of the torch, a silent, intentional act of disobedience. And as the world grieved her, her final message stayed hidden until today. What occurs next is not only about family. It's about power, perspective, and the popular memory of a princess who never completely vanished. And one thing is certain. This discovery elevates Catherine above the status of royal wife. It became Diana's chosen one. And Camilla? She isn't taking it calmly. The inner circle's reaction to the provisions of the codicil was swift and harsh. No one took it worse than Camilla, the queen consort. According to various staff sources, she burst in shock and wrath within Clarence House, her voice ringing through the marble hallways as she demanded answers that no one could provide. "She was talking about me," Camilla allegedly yelled, holding a copy of the transcribed letter Diana had left for Catherine. According to royal officials, she argued that the codicil was a calculated attack, the ultimate blow from a lady who had spent years portraying her as the villain. Camilla saw this as more than simply an inheritance. It was an injustice. Behind closed doors, many who witnessed her rage say Camilla felt betrayed not just by Diana, but also by Charles, William, and even the institution she worked so hard to get into. After years of carefully controlling her public image, attending charity events, and attempting to soften her reputation as the other woman, her revelation shattered everything in one blow. Worse, Camilla had long believed that Diana's shadow still hung over her marriage. However, discovering that Diana had consciously intended for someone else to carry her crown in spirit, and that someone was Catherine, was too much to take. Camilla believed Diana had taken the public's adoration from the grave. According to palace sources, Camilla immediately contacted Charles, insisting that he publish a statement rejecting the codicil. "It is manipulative, it is not legally binding, and it's humiliating," she allegedly told him. But Charles, ever cautious, declined to speak publicly. Insiders said he murmured that it was William's choice and that "we can't afford another Diana war right now." That further added to Camilla's sense of isolation. She also reportedly turned on Princess Anne, trying to find an ally. But Anne, known for her calm pragmatism and long-standing allegiance to the Queen, refused to become involved, unlike Camilla. In fact, several aides allege Anne advised her brother's wife to let it go and concentrate on the present. Camilla went into another downward spiral after hearing that statement. To her, it was obvious. The walls were closing in, and even the firm could no longer protect her. Catherine's silence exacerbated the situation. In the days after the leak, the Princess of Wales made no public comments, released no statements, and displayed no symptoms of gloating. However, her calm dignity underlined the contrast between her and the Queen Consort, who was allegedly yelling at servants, missing royal briefings, and demanding that her media team fix this now. Unfortunately for Camilla, this cannot be fixed. The public's attitude has moved again. Online forums, social media platforms, and royal watchers throughout the world have rekindled the ancient feud, Diana versus Camilla. Only this time, Catherine has taken on Diana's role, not just as a princess, but as a representation of everything Camilla could never be. To make matters worse, headlines began labeling the codicil Diana's revenge letter and the true Queen's final wish. One tabloid even screamed, "Camilla crowned by title, Kate crowned by legacy." And those words, printed on newsstands, burned more than any royal insult ever could. Because Camilla recognized that when the titles fade, Diana's voice remains. Diana's decision to choose Catherine was more than just an honor. She entirely obliterated Camilla. For a woman who fought her way to the top, this is more than simply a setback. It's a personal failure. And what about her current fury? It's the sort that doesn't die softly. If there is one thing that has always distinguished Prince William, it is loyalty, particularly to his mother. Despite the palace smiles and meticulously planned public appearances, many close to the heir believe Charles has never ceased defending Diana's legacy. And today, as the details of her secret codicil cause shockwaves across the monarchy, many feel William is the reason it survived at all. According to senior personnel who worked in the early 2000s, William was handed the codicil immediately after Diana's funeral, in front of her attorneys and his legal guardians. At the age of 15, he allegedly requested that the contents be kept secret until he reached adulthood. What struck everyone was how explicit his request was. Not only did he want to keep the paper secure, but he also wanted to guarantee Camilla never had access to it. This was not a teenager's response to bereavement. It was the start of a long-held vow to carry out his mother's desires, no matter what royal etiquette stood in his way. Years later, right before proposing to Catherine Middleton, William returned to the same law office that held the codicil. A royal assistant vividly recalls that day. He was quiet, yet there was something decisive about his tone. He responded, "It's time," and he took the package himself. The next day, he presented it to Catherine, before even offering her the engagement ring. That ring, of course, was Diana's sapphire, selected not just for its beauty, but also for its symbolic value. And now we know that Diana left more than just the ring behind. The present included her written blessing. For William, it was never just a proposal. It represented the fulfillment of a holy vow. For many years, William kept the codicil secret from his father. According to insiders, he was concerned that Charles would try to hide it, either to protect Camilla or to prevent reigniting the Diana-Camilla inferno. So William chose caution over confrontation, silently keeping the documents and allowing them to exist in the shadows as Kate slipped into Diana's shoes, gracefully, respectfully, and without drama. Even at the height of royal tensions with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, William refused to weaponize the codicil, despite Meghan's remark that Kate was her favorite daughter-in-law. According to one insider, William thought the codicil was never meant to hurt anyone. It was intended to safeguard someone. Catherine. Those closest to Diana were aware of her feeling of loyalty. Diana's longtime butler, Paul Burrell, allegedly implied cryptically in an interview that William is his mother's son in every aspect that counts. He hasn't forgotten her voice, nor her agony. Nonetheless, the choice to reveal the codicil now was not taken lightly. As suspicions about Charles's health spread and private discussions about succession began, some believed William felt it was time. With Camilla now having the title of Queen Consort and Diana still unacknowledged in that capacity, putting the codicil forward was William's method of leveling the playing field, of reminding the public who the people's princess truly was and who she entrusted with her crown in spirit. It also sends a clear message to the monarchy itself. William is no longer the bashful youngster who follows his mother's coffin. He's a man, a parent, and a potential king, and he will not let Diana's requests be ignored, no matter how steep the cost. Because some pledges never expire, some sons never forget. It's one thing to speak about legacy. It's another to see, touch, and breathe it back to life. That's exactly what happened when the heirlooms mentioned in Diana's secret codicil were revealed. They were not just objects, they were vessels. Each piece told a tale, expressed a mood, and most importantly, sent a warning. The first was a sapphire and diamond brooch that was long thought to be gone. It belonged to Diana's grandmother before being passed down to her, and she only wore it on times of significant emotional value. Diana instructed in the codicil that it should only be worn by the one who holds her spirit. When Catherine first wore the brooch at a charity banquet 2 years ago, no one knew where it came from. They just understood it radiated meaning rather than money. The second was a handwritten letter, carefully folded into aged parchment and sealed with Diana's own wax stamp. The opening phrases alone are enough to calm the atmosphere. If you are reading this, then you are the woman I always hoped he would find. The letter talks of compassion, of resilience, of what Diana called quiet strength in the face of cruelty. She addressed the weight of the crown and the significance of using it not to silence others, but to give them voice. It was a mother's blueprint, not for duty, but for decency. It concluded with a simple phrase that shocked everyone who read it. "You're not stepping into my shoes. You are following your own path, with my blessing." But it was the third item that sparked the most controversy: a cassette tape, one of several Diana produced during her dying years, but this one was never released, aired, or leaked. Diana is reported to express her anxieties openly, not only for her sons, but also for the monarchy itself. According to people who have heard the audio, she specifically mentions Camilla, characterizing her as a presence that haunts, not heals. Diana expressed sorrow, not bitterness, that Charles failed to move on from the past. She concurs, "If he cannot lead with clarity, then William must lead with heart." It is not only an emotional outburst, it is a spiritual will, a call to continue what Diana couldn't complete. William silently kept these 3 relics for years, locking them away in a special chamber at Kensington Palace with limited access, shared only with Catherine and never revealed to Charles or Camilla. The discovery of the codicil, however, has revealed their existence, and neither is the message they transmit. To the rest of the world, these are more than simply remains of a long-lost princess. They provide indications that Diana regarded the crown differently. She thought that heritage was defined by ideals rather than bloodlines. Catherine personified that ideal more than anyone else, with her serene demeanor, love to her family, and silent elegance. Camilla, meantime, is believed to have asked that the brooch be restored to the royal gem collection, only to be denied. She has allegedly prohibited personnel from discussing the letter and mentioning the recording at official events. But it is too late. The heirlooms are no longer merely symbols. These are reminders. Diana never really left, and that her light through Catherine continues to shine, bright, untouchable, and stronger than any title. In the aftermath of the codicil's release, headlines shouted, royal aides scurried, and palace insiders whispered of internal instability. Despite the maelstrom, one woman kept silent: Catherine, Princess of Wales. She gave no interviews, made no remarks, and had no response other than her normal, composed, quiet grin. Nonetheless, that quiet has become louder than any regal pronouncement. According to insiders, when William initially delivered the artifacts to Kate years before their wedding, she sobbed softly, overwhelmed not only by the magnificent jewels or passionate letter, but also by the weight of what it all represented. Diana had left more than just family heirlooms. She had also left a crown of trust, which was passed on to a person rather than an institution, to her. According to those close to Kate, she never showed off the brooch, never referenced the letter in private, and never even opened the audio recording without William there. Even after marrying into the firm and becoming Princess of Wales, she maintained Diana's legacy near but private, not out of fear, but out of profound respect. And it is this restraint that has drawn parallels to Diana's own strength. Royal watchers and the general public have frequently commented on how Catherine, like Diana, commanded attention without ever raising her voice. Kate's quiet elegance has become her most valuable asset. Whether she is comforting mourning families, working with youngsters, or attending high-pressure diplomatic meetings. And now that Diana's blessing is revealed, everything makes sense. She was picked for a purpose. According to royal sources, Camilla's wrath has grown in recent weeks as Kate's popularity rises and public memory shifts. Diana's legacy never faded, one assistant remarked, but now it feels reborn. This rebirth is happening not via speeches or interviews, but through Catherine's actions. Social media is ablaze with side-by-side images of Diana and Kate, walking the same stairs, smiling gently, and wearing the same sapphire ring that once represented love and anguish. People respond to the essence rather than the image. Diana embodies humanity, her maternal tenderness, her calm defiance. All of this is mirrored in a new generation, through Catherine. According to palace sources, Kate has failed to interact with Camilla, despite the Queen Consort apparently becoming increasingly aggressive behind the scenes. Camilla has reportedly refused to be photographed with Catherine, telling her staff, "I won't stand in her shadow." However, the irony is that she already does. Catherine, for her part, continues to carry out her tasks with the same grace and patience that she has always had. At public occasions, she frequently wears subtle references to Diana, whether in her jewelry, clothes, or the charity she supports. And the whole population sees it. She represents continuity rather than conflict, a legacy that is honored rather than erased. Perhaps the most illuminating occasion occurred mere days after the codicil surfaced. At a children's hospice event, Kate was given a flower and told by a young girl, "You look like a real queen." Kate smiled sweetly, thanked her, and bent down to hold the child, just as Diana would have. There are no words needed, because in the end, grace does not yell. It survives, it's uplifting, and it turns even the darkest royal storms into something optimistic. Diana's legacy, according to Catherine, has evolved rather than just surviving. And for the monarchy, that may be the only future the people are ready to embrace. The unsealing of Princess Diana's codicil has done more than rock the royal family's foundations. It has resurrected a legacy that never died. What Prince William previously carefully preserved has now been thrown into the harsh limelight, requiring the monarchy to deal with a voice from the past that continues to outshine the present. For the general population, Diana was never merely a princess. She represented compassion, vulnerability, and strength. And now that her deathbed intentions have been revealed, naming Catherine as her spiritual successor and future queen, the symbolism feels more strong than ever. Catherine has not said anything, but her silence speaks volumes. Diana's essence lives on via her presence, calmness, and the love she inspires. However, Camilla's reaction has exacerbated the palace's cracks. Her rage is more than simply emotional, it's calculated. In a family preoccupied with appearances and heritage, being publicly passed over by a cherished icon is a more serious damage than any scandal. It serves as a reminder that, despite holding the title, Camilla never gained the hearts of the people, and maybe she never will. King Charles feels conflicted between respecting his wife's status and protecting the monarchy from more problems. But the harm is done. In their attempt to conceal the truth, the firm merely proved what millions had assumed all along. Diana had the ultimate say, and she used it to bless the woman who represents the future. As a result, the throne now stands on uneven ground. Not from abdication or controversy, but from a ghost with a mission, and a princess who never begged for the crown, but now wears it with calm dignity. This is no longer merely a war for gems or memories, it is a war for the soul of the monarchy. If the world had to choose between a given title and an earned legacy, they've already made their decision. Her name is Catherine. Diana would be proud.